20th Century Boy, released March 1973, reached only number 3 in the charts. But it's the best heavy metal track by T-Rex ever. It's a dance floor filler. If you play that at a wedding, guaranteed 5.
The riff starts, you hear the hiss from the amps, so you get it. You can hear the amps are on, the guitar's turned up and it's ready to go, and then you hear Mark shout from a distance, and then man, that's heavy.
Cool guitar riff. It's straight in there, in the door, boom, let's go. Cool.
Wow, friends is great. I mean, just everything about it. It's so bold. It's got the sexiness. It's got, you know, the cheeky connotation. It's just everything.
It was very much, you had a slower part, a faster part, and the backing vocals, and there was like 3 distinct sections of the song.
When David started to take off, I think there was a bit of rivalry there, and David would always watch Marc Bolan's career and study it. He would always be going on about it, you know. Oh, Mac's just been to America and he's not cracked America yet, and we're going out next week. It was like a football team, you know. He would always watch what he was doing and how he was getting on. And then I think he wanted to get bigger than Marc, you know, because we hadn't quite got to the same level at that time as Marc Bolan was at with T-Rex. And I think David wanted to, you know, get to the top of the division before he did.
Tank's album, I think what it did was it sold in the UK and Europe. It did pretty well, and I think it sold because of where he was at that particular point. But again, it failed more so in the States. You know, not even getting really inside the top 100 really, and you know, I mean, that's, again, I'm sure it had a massive effect on him.
Tank's had this rather dubious picture of Mark astride a tank with the barrel pointed outwards.
Mary Whitehouse, who was a campaigner of keeping TV clean, she was outraged because she said it was phallic, and she tried to get the album cover banned as being obscene. And I think that was good publicity for Mark.
Born to Boogie's on there, which is an interesting point because Born to Boogie was the name of the film that he did with Ringo Starr and stuff, and that song isn't on the film, in the film, so that was interesting for a start.
It had a fuller sound, and although it wasn't sort of quite as commercially successful, and Mark, you could see Mark had perhaps put on a little bit of weight, you know, it still had some sort of really good songs on it.
I just think with Tanks, it showed that he was a little bit, not how can anyone be bored, but bored-ish, and he's sort of into autopilot. T-Rex is now a machine, it's going on, and I don't think he's been out of, because the American thing has not sort of happened as well as it could have done. I think he's sort of struggling a bit with where does he go next.
He didn't have the height in America. I just don't think they knew what to do with him. I think they didn't know what to do with glam rock. You know, by the time they were dealing with glam rock, Kiss and Bowie broke at the same time, so it was okay for Bowie, because Kiss had come through, so they're like, oh right, makeup, glam rock, oh yeah, that's cool, yeah, we can deal with that. But, you know, it was too late for him.
The Groover, I think, is another feature track that had basically that gave Mickey Finn certainly something to do. It was Mickey and his conga playing.
starting to reflect a slight decline in Marc's popularity because it went to number 4, you know. And if I got a single at number 4, I'd be quite happy. That's quite successful.
Slippery slope for me. It's like, sounds a bit like we need another single.
There's a point where you think that you're impregnable, where you think it doesn't matter what I write, I'm writing great stuff, and all of a sudden the audience turn around and go, yeah, that wasn't that good. You go, what do you mean? Everything I write's great. You love everything I write.
At the time, everything that Marc brought out I thought was wonderful. But I definitely remember that sort of, you know, by the time the Groover came out, the amount of my friends who were still T-Rex fans was starting to diminish. I love the fact that it started, you know, T-R-E-X. Although, of course, obviously that was one of the things that he was accused of, you know, starting to become very egocentric. You know, the lyrics were starting to become very egocentric, and that's when the press was starting to sort of pick on him, and you know, he was losing the plot.
No, I'm not having it. This is where I end my relationship with T-Rex. It's all over. But you've got to remember, this is a band who've had 40 million bloody sales of records so far. 4 number 1s, 3 number 2, 2 number 3s, and 1 number 4. And you know what? It's sort of forwards and then backwards.
There were so many things that Marc Bolan and T-Rex made in the 70s, and their music, certainly the early stuff that came out on the Electric Warrior album, for me that just summarises the 70s. You listen to that, that's early 70s, that's glam, it's got that distinctive stamp on it.